Hello everyone and welcome to the 2025 course overview with myself, Kerry Suter, coach of Squadron, affiliated training partner for the 2025 event. I will be covering off all of the courses today, the 100 mile course, the 100k course, 50k course and 22k course. Being that those courses all overlay one another, I can talk about all of the courses as once. If you want to just jump forward to your specific course, I will put timestamps in the description below. But before we get started, I think I would just cover off some start line information for all athletes, all courses this year. The main change I think you'll notice is that in addition to your start waves, all of the courses will have trickle gate control. So you'll just notice a little bit of a narrowing around the start line just to ensure that there are not too many runners going out on the course at any one time. So instead of being 8 abreast, just expect to sort of throttle down to sort of 1 or 2 runners and they'll drip onto all of the courses. So expect that for all of them. So when you get that ready, set, go, anticipate just you'll just be easing off the line. Don't worry, you'll be running to mat time and those start mats are over that trickle gate. So that's pretty standard now for all races at UTMB, including Tarawera, so it seems to work pretty well, and it should help ease a little bit of congestion. Otherwise, my top tips are just understand your start line procedure, download the app, make sure you know you have all the information, know how to get to your start line if there are buses, what time you need to be on your buses, and what your start waves are and your expected start times. There is about 10.5 hours of daylight at the moment in the Blue Mountains, so sunrise is about 6:45 and sunset about 5:15 p.m. So if you're running outside of those hours, obviously you'll need your headlamps. Think about where you're going to put them in your backpack. So onto the courses themselves, starting with a 100 mile course. I did actually speak to Tom Landon-Smith for an hour 45 on Tuesday. I tried to record the session, but because I'm a dingus, I didn't record his audio or his video, but that's not particularly useful. I will try and regurgitate the information as best I can. Here I will not take an hour 45. I'll try and do it as quickly as possible. Probably worth noting is as I go through these courses, I'm going to be referring back a little bit to the UltraPacers that I have set up here. If you haven't used UltraPacer, I recommend you go to ultrapacer.com. You can search for the 2025 Ultra Trail Australia courses, use the official ones. They've either been uploaded by myself, Kerry, or another account that I have eponymous. And you can enter your estimated finish time for your events, and that will give you predicted times for all of your aid stations, and you can allow in there for your stoppage time at the aid stations, and it will give you a really good indicator of what time you're expected to be through the aid stations. For what it's worth, our 100 mile athletes, we anticipate that the peak flow, the middle of the field, will be finishing at around about that sort of 34-35 hour time. So the way that is estimated is roughly your UTA time times about 1.7 to 2.0, somewhere around about there. My top tip for the 100 mile is that you start easy and get through that first 60k, which is definitely the hardest part of your course before you feed into the 100k proper, which you probably already know. So the beauty of UltraPacer is you can see on there what time you are expected at any checkpoint. So for example here, this is a 34-hour example that I've set up, and you can see you're going through checkpoint 1. About 2 hours elapsed, about 7 a.m. if you are sensible. If you're above that, you're hotter than average pace. The way you should predict your probable outcome is to look at where you finish in most of your other races. So if you finish at sort of 40% through the field, you should assume that you're going to be something like 40% through what we anticipate will be the finish times for the 100 miler. The faster times in the low 20s, and as I said, the median times in that mid 30-hour mark. So getting back to the course itself, relatively straightforward. You'll be running a clockwise circuit. Pre-dawn, relatively dark, you'll be dropping down into Grand Canyon. It's a little bit picky down there. Tom said there should be some glowworms, so turn off your headlights, enjoy that. It's a relatively slow climb out of Grand Canyon, but the course is in pretty good nick. It's a high tourist area, so a lot of people going out to Blackheath to do Grand Canyon. It's had a major repair since the fires went through there a few years ago. He said that the top track is a little bit picky, so they were going to do a bit of a tidy up along there. Otherwise, it's relatively good running. Not too much elevation. As I said, I anticipate most runners will be a couple of hours to checkpoint 1, 10k's in, but pretty slow going, He said that you should see sunrise as you're going along that track. So look to the east, you should be able to see Sydney and the sun rising over the ocean there. Not too much to report. Good running along Hill Road, quiet country road. Perry's look down as you go down the ridge. It's steep at first, but evens out. The track's in pretty good condition. He said that Blue Gum is a bit of a braided mess with trails all over the place. He was going out Wednesday morning just to mark some things so that they could tidy up in there. So it'd be a bit clearer when you get down there. There was a log to cross the river, but I'm not sure if that's still there now. The marking should be pretty good once it's cleared through there. My experience with running in this area is there's kind of a lot of bushes and stuff that scratches your legs. Long socks for an adventure is probably a good idea. For those that don't know it, the climb what they call Lockley's Pylon, the Fir Buttress, is pretty steep. It's one of the most long, sustained, sharp climbs. A lot of the athletes training to do UTMB will come out here and do reps on it, so it's pretty hard. There are some extended sections in here around the Mount Hayes area just to get your kilometres close to the 160, so you're not having to do extra running in town. So you see that here actually as we get out to the Fortress Bridge checkpoint CP3. Let's have a look at roughly what time we anticipate you out there. CP3 out at Fortress Ridge. Middle of the pack should be going through there early mid-morning. 10:45 would be an okay time through there. Anything faster than that, you're faster than average. Being that it's pretty slow through there, I would anticipate most people are getting close to 6 hours elapsed as they get out of Fortress Ridge. So you will be doing a couple of out and backs here on the Fortress Hill trail. When I talked to Tom about it, he said that you were going to go west first and then north. However, the GPX that he provided has you going north first and then west second. So I guess the key there is just to pay attention to the course marking because it may differ from what you are expecting. Excellent lookout point, obviously, is the reason why they're going out Fortress Ridge, and Mount Hayes Road, I reckon, is probably the best road running in the Blue Mountains. Yeah, better than everything over Bilpin side as well. So lovely gravel road, good running till you get back to Bruce's Walk. The reason they chose Bruce's Walk is because Ironman actually picked this one out. They had planned to do something different, but it required you running into town, going over train tracks and a bit more road and chaos. So when they scoped this out, it looks doable. Those that have run it have reported it's relatively picky. Anytime you put a straight line across a topographical map, you're in for a lot of fun. As I once read in a hut book, a lot of bullshit can happen between two orange lines on a map. Bruce's Walk is particularly picky. After the first creek crossing, you'll climb about 50 metres to the next one. Chance of you getting wet feet. The descent down to the second creek crossing, Tom said, is quite picky. There was some infrastructure there some years ago that has been removed or destroyed by fire, so there's a little bit of exposed rebar spike and a few things that they'll probably try and put some flagging tape on, just knock over to try and make it a little bit safer. So just keep your wits about you as you're doing in the second descent into the creek for Bruce's. A hard climb out of there. He said that they will mark the around the airfield quite carefully. He said it would be very easy to end up on Pilcher Track or Pilcher Road. So just pay attention to your course marking as you head back towards Medlow Bath. Not a lot to report as you go back through Medlow Bath. You'll be crossing, there's a new overpass that they've put in over the railway tracks, over the Great Western Motorway, and running along the side of the road till you get down to Explorer's Tree. Easy running, settle in, let those Ks tick by. You'll be coming to the Nelly's Glen intersection hopefully for the first time for the day. Now this will be marshalled for 100 mile runners, and after the tail end Charlie for the 100 mile runners goes through, they will then change this course marking and close it off and sign it only for the Farnell Trail to the south. So the second time you come around here it'll appear a little bit different, but it'll be clearly marked for you to turn right and you'll be familiar with it having climbed Nelly's Glen. So no marshal there on your second loop, but there should be a marshal there on the first time. Farnell's ordinary bit of trail, and then it's I don't know, I've never enjoyed the run up Farnell's Road. Once you get to Narrow Road, you'll be staying on the true right of the road, or to the left or to the west. As we look at it here, you will not be crossing the road on your first pass here. So the 100 mile athletes, as you come along it, you'll be on the right hand side of the road, so to the west over on the left here, so left of screen. Down to Narrow Neck and then the cut through, and what we'll do now is we'll tee into the what will be the 100k course, since they'll be joining us for this part of the journey. So welcome to our 100k runners that you will be teeing into the 100 mile course. You are doing the left cloverleaf and the right cloverleaf of what is a 3 cloverleaf course. So you'll be doing the butterfly section out to the left first. Now for our 100k runners, really straightforward start for you at Scenic World. Not shown here on the map, you'll be going straight up Cliff Drive. So there's a red line that's not here. It's pretty steep past Eagle Hawk Lookout. I haven't seen anyone win the 100k race in the first few kilometers, so I wouldn't recommend you do it. It is a bit of a climb, not a lot of fun on the road, and then you'll be joining what is the 100 mile course as you go out Glen Raphael. So you'll be actually turning into the lower section of Glen Raphael, which is sealed. The 100 mile runners are taking a shortcut to get through from the north, and then everyone's on at Glen Raphael. Now if you know it, Narrows Neck is pretty rolly to start with, pretty undulating, and other than that, not much to report. It's 11k's. The last 5k gradually downhill. It's really nice running. The only bottlenecks we anticipate to be on the course is down this Duncan's Pass section here for the 100k runners. So I guess the thing is, for all runners, perhaps the 100 mile runners that will be joining, a bit of a delay through here, and the 100k runners that are part of the congestion, is just take the opportunity to get some fuel in, to have a bit of a drink as you drop into Duncan's Pass. There is no terrace ladders this year, that infrastructure isn't built. However, at Duncan's Pass they are doing, it's a temporary trail, but they are putting in some wooden stairs. So they have some stairs have been built, and it may even be some temporary handrail or the like to get you through there, but it's probably the most technical part of the course as you go down into Duncan's Pass. So initially there's a chute at the top of Tara's Ladders, which there's no passing on. Basically by the time you leave the gravel road, don't expect to do any passing until you're heading towards Medlow Gap. So just be patient, take some fuel in, and see it as an opportunity to use your mobile aid station as you head out there. Little Cedar Gap, trails in good nick, lovely climb up to the top. Pick your way through a few rocks here, not much to report, a few stairs on the descent down Medlow Gap to your aid station. For our 100 mile runners, I anticipate that you'll be getting down to Medlow Gap at about, where are we here? Foggy Knob, Medlow Gap. Most of them probably about 6 p.m, so just after sunset. The bulk of the runners will be going down there Duncan's Pass for the 100 miles, so that's probably about 13 hours elapsed or thereabout as you get down to Medlow Gap. So anticipate that to sort of be dark. You're probably going to be headlights from the time you leave that Narrow Neck trail, for certainly for the back half of the runners. For the front runners, there's a chance that you'll be through here just a little bit ahead of sunset. So for the 100k runners, you will be headed down Medlow Gap probably about 9 a.m. Probably about 2.5 to 3 hours elapsed to get out there, depending upon where you are, based off a median finish time of about 18 hours, which is pretty normal for the 100k. So I've accidentally moved the map there, sorry. Gentle rolling forestry road as you leave Medlow Gap down the bottom of the screen here. Not much to report. It should be well marked. It's a big, you drive a ute down there, we always do for our course marking. There's about a dozen in the team this year. They've been working for about 2 weeks, pretty much full time preparing this course, so expected to be in pretty good order. Foggy Knob no longer at Dumfries. The Foggy Knob checkpoint is just a little bit off where we used to have the checkpoint at the campground. Then you'll be heading out to Iron Pot. Note there is a slight change to how this course is arranged this year to avoid some confusion around the split and intersection. You should be going up one way and then you're obviously coming down the other way. This used to be a T intersection, but you'll veer apart, and it should have some bunting and stuff, so it's relatively clear. The Iron Pot climb is a bit of a gotcha. A lot of people don't anticipate it to be as steep as it is, so it's pretty grunty from Foggy Nog. There's a couple of sections you leave Mark's Farm that are a bit of a climb, and then the last climb up to Iron Pot. For the 100 mile runners, we don't anticipate that the didgeridoo players will be out there as most of you are going through, but for the 100k runners, expect didgeridoo out here at the Chinaran Point on Iron Pot. Beautiful section of the course. Just take your time. There's a flow to the left and right is separated by bunting. Have a look on the rock for some, there's some scratchings in the rock from some of the First Nations people sharpening tools. Just as you get up into Iron Pot, often sort of they look like little puddles of water, but you can see the scratching in there. Particularly cool. Steep descent after you leave Iron Pot catches a lot of people out. There's often a bit of leaf litter as you go into the eucalypts here. So just keep your wits about you. Some athletes do a little bit too much here and damage their quads. I would probably be just a little bit respectful on your descent here. Single track at first and then eases up into more sort of double track and then farm track as you come around the Yabby Ponds, and then tease back into Megalong Road. Green Gully, Namaste Report, it's a little bit rolling as you get in there. Megalong Road. This Megalong Road climb is it's notable, memorable. I have had a few hard runs up there, and it's something that you do certainly remember. Otherwise, Megalong Road, pretty major, fast running. Leans itself downhill until you get to a little turnstile here. You'll cross into the paddocks. This note section here differs to what the website shows. So the website shows just this interaction a little bit differently. I recommend that maybe, I don't know whether you screenshot of it, but basically the only time that there'll be any overlap is at the actual aid station itself. So if you just sort of remind yourself, you'll be looping in from the south end as you first interact with the 6-foot track aid station, and then looping in from the north end when you do it the second time. That again differs to how the website shows it. So pretty grunty little section of the course as you drop down into the river here. There are some old handrails. It's going to be dark for many of the 100-mile runners going through here. So Tanya's tips was just to pay attention. This represents some of the biggest descending that you'll do in the day. You can see here, we're going from 560 meters elevation down to 300. So, there's a good 350 meters elevation drop off into the creek there, or delevation as one of my athletes calls it. And then you've got a really sustained long climb as you initially leave, come back up 6-foot track, and then head into Nellie's Glen and back up the stairs. So back to the aid station, and then along Nellie's Glen Road. This is actually driveway for a lot of people, so it's very easy running. It gradually rolls up and gets a little bit harder as you get towards Nellie's Glen proper, and so you start the ascents as a gravel road starts to peter out. You can see here we start to sort of get into a few more orange lines, so relatively steep, and then the actual climb out of Nellie's Glen had some work done to it a couple of years ago, so it's in pretty good shape, and 100-mile athletes and 100k athletes will be joining this intersection here. It will be marked only to go south, so that won't be marshalled, but basically the north section should be closed off. Into Farnells Road again. Now, I think you, as I understand it, are crossing early here and then heading down Wellington Drive. So that will be marshalled, your road crossing, and then into the aquatic centre. So let me just quickly refer to my benchmark times there. Excuse me if the map jumps around a little bit. Looking at your aquatic centre for most of our 100-mile athletes, it's elapsed time will be getting close to 24 hours. By the time you get through the aquatic centre, that would be what would I expect the median time through there. That's 4:45, so just before 5 a.m. 116 kilometres elapsed, and for our 100k athletes, the average time through the aquatic centre is about 9 hours, so you're into sort of the mid-afternoon, 3:30 p.m. And just about starting to get dark as you leave the aquatic centre. Keep in mind for our 100k athletes that the drop rate at the aquatic centre is about 50% of all of the people that pull out of the race drop at the aquatic centre. Around about 24, it varies on weather, but about 24% of athletes in the 100k do not finish the race. So we're going to lose about 12% of the field at the aquatic centre. So just keep that in mind. I would always make the decision to stop your race after you've left the aid station. It's very easy to quit when you're sitting in a chair. So just take your time, have some hot soup. Sorry if my map's moved around a little bit. I do recommend everyone actually uses UltraPacer and gets in there and has a look at some of their estimated times for all of the runners. I'll explain in a moment how I would predict your estimated finish time. So through the aquatic centre, through town, through the gully. David King looks after a lot of the land in here, and it's beautiful. And you'll be coming back down to the Katoomba Falls Reserve, which tees into what will be our 50k course. So welcome to our 50k runners. We will be doing the right-hand loop here, just the right-hand loop for the 50k runners. 100-mile runners, this is your third clover leaf, your final clover leaf, and for your 100k runners, this is the right butterfly wing, I guess is a way of putting it. So I chose to talk about it here. Your finish time predictions, probably the best way to do it, particularly for the 100k and 50k runners, is to look at where you have finished in many of your other trail races, and if you are finishing sort of 50% through the field, or 40% through the field, or 70% through the field, then just apply that to previous year's finish times, and that will give you a relatively accurate prediction of where you will be finishing. So if you are normally in the top 10% for most races, then go look at the finish times for your particular race, and then go, I should be roughly, if there's 10 pages of finishes, it should be just at the end of the first page. And that's usually a good way to work out what your finish time prediction will be. More data you have, the more accurate it's going to be. And then I would probably plug that into UltraPacer and just start looking at some of the times, just to give you some indication of how it's going to look when you apply them to the race proper. So that, I think it's ultrapacer.com. I'd recommend searching for the 2025 Ultra Trail Australia official. The official ones have been created by myself, either be by Kerry or eponymous, and you can enter your times in there, and you can enter your estimated times to stoppage at aid stations. You can apply factors for heat and fade and many other different things. So it's a great tool. The reason why I say it's particularly powerful is I have adjusted it for the terrain conditions. So take, for example, the section along to Echo Point. It's relatively rolly, a little bit of undercliff, a few steps and stones, and so it has a technical terrain grading that is applied to how long I estimate it will take you to get down Giant Staircase, for example. So down into down to the bottom of Lura Cascades, a lot of lyrebirds and stuff in here. Really cool section of track. It will be obviously, it's dark for a lot of the courses, just simply because it doesn't catch a lot of sun down there. The climb out of Lura Cascades is about 1,300 stairs. I think it's the most stairs that you'll climb in your race. So it's a pretty grunty ascent. Just take your time, pick your way through it. For 50k runners, potentially a little bit of a bottleneck here. You'll get into a bit of a conga line, I anticipate, and we call it the train of goodness, just to be respectful of other runners and other trail users. Not much to report. Rolling along Olympian Rock, a lot of repairs along here. The trail, I think first time we've actually been on the section of trail again for a while. It tends to get closed quite a lot for landslides and the like. So it's in particularly good shape. You drop down to the Pull of Sloan, and then back up towards the Fairmont. Should be fast running on the road, but it never feels like it. And then back around the back of the Fairmont, your checkpoint is just in behind the buildings there, and I don't know, not a lot to report. It's a pretty good checkpoint. About 6% of the 100k field will drop at this point. So what is it, about 25% of those that DNF in the 100k will pull at Fairmont. Pretty cruisy down to Lillian's Bridge. I think the Lillian's Bridge has been closed recently for some maintenance. It's now reopened, pretty good shape. I love the climb up here to the nature walk. Really beautiful as you cross Empress Canyon. Lillian's Bridge is beautiful as well, with maybe, I don't know, I won't stop for a photograph, but it is a beautiful drop down. There'll be some canyoners down there having the time of their life. So all of our runners head along to past Conservation Hut. Conservation Hut, an excellent place for a milkshake, but probably not so much on race day, as it actually you could probably get some of your crew to go out there and wave at you. They're not allowed to interact with you, but it is a point at which you can see runners on track. Drop into Wentworth Falls. This place is always particularly busy with tourists, so expect lots of other trail users during daylight hours. Tom's point there was be respectful of other trail users. We don't have right of way as trail runners. We are sharing the park, and of course we are here as a privilege, and always be very polite as you are passing other park users, because you can imagine a few people could ruin it for everybody. So just obviously just let people know you're there and that you're going to pass on the right. Pay attention when you cross Wentworth Falls, the climb up to Rocket Point. Every year some people miss this turnoff and end up going down National Pass and find themselves way down here at the bottom of the valley, which is not a good place to be. So I think probably the thing to note is just immediately after you cross Wentworth Falls, or within a few metres of, you should be starting the climb out to Rocket Point Lookout. It should be relatively well marked, but it can be pretty busy, and because you're probably looking at other park users or other runners, it's easy just to be a little bit distracted here. So I guess I don't know how I can reinforce this more, but just after you cross Wentworth Falls, please pay attention. You'll be turning to the left and climbing up the Rocket Point Lookout. Now, it isn't not normally marshalled. Relatively easy climb out of there, sharp at first, but comes right. You'll reach Little Switzerland Drive, cut up into sections but never actually used. It's a particularly windy place and be beautiful if you did have a house, particularly on Lincoln's Rock. What do it take to purchase that section? You'll be turning left into Horden Road and then down Coronation, and then back across this is actually private land. There's usually a lot of garden gnomes along here, quite cool. Along Tablelands Road, relatively straightforward. You're actually on a little cut trail that's beside the road here. It's okay, it's good, not great. It sort of follows the power lines, but should be relatively easy running out to Queen Victoria Hospital. So excuse me whilst I just briefly refer to my notes here. So for Queen Vic Hospital, our 100-mile athletes should be starting their second day, so they should be time elapsed something like 29 hours. I would expect the bulk of the field to be going through here at about 10 a.m. and for our 100k runners, I expect that the bulk of the field will be passing through here. Time elapsed about 13:30 or around about 8 a.m. So that's for our 100k. So sorry, 8 p.m. So it's definitely headlamps on for anyone in the back half of that field. Sorry, my map jumped around a bit. Definitely don't do that 100-mile section. For everyone, you're dropping down, joining the 22k course. Again, the 22k starters, they'll be going through some throttle gates, so they'll be slowing it down here. Here where they start their race, but should be pretty straightforward going. For all runners, if they are heading into darkness down here, particularly our 100k runners, if it's starting to get dark, or our 50k runners in the back of the field, make sure you put on your warm clothes and avoid probably too much stoppage time at the aid station. A lot of people will DNF just simply because they got too cold with too much stoppage time. So I recommend either maybe putting your jackets on whilst you're moving, or just getting through that drop bag as quickly as possible, and just being a little bit careful. I think getting cold and giving up is what we call a shit quit. So we'll try and avoid that. Down Kadumba, steep at first, as you know, until you get to the Hanging Rock overpass. It's about 7k's down to Jamison Creek. There is a couple of Besser blocks, breeze blocks, or cinder blocks, whatever you want to call them, in the creek. So for most of the runners, 100 mile, 100k, and 50k, you should be able to clear the river without too much issues. In the 22k, you should expect it to be particularly busy, and people will be picking their way through the river, probably just except you're going to get wet feet at that point. It rolls up a couple of times to get to helipad. There is an emergency aid station at helipad. There's nothing really here. There are some people, occasionally a barrel fire, and not a lot else. So nothing really there for you. That's just to make sure all our runners are okay. That's, as you see, 150k's into your 100-mile course. The course climbs sharply once you leave the Lura Creek. So you'll see there's a creek crossing down here. It's a two-step climb, so really steep at first, really good place to get the poles out and get working. And then the second climb as you head over towards the water treatment plant. Now, pretty leachy through here, so I probably wouldn't muck around too much and just keep moving. The track narrows here and becomes single track just as you leave the water treatment plant, and then sort of becomes single track. It should be marshalled here, this intersection. However, this is a very hard shift for lots of different marshals, so there's often marshals changing checking out and new ones starting. So you can't guarantee the marshals are going to be there, but they should be. It should be really well marked for everyone coming out of here, although every year 1 or 2 runners will make the mistake of accidentally going up Lyra Cascades again and going out for their second loop. So just keep your wits about you as you come out of the water treatment plant and you're turning left through the picnic area, and there's a split here at a picnic chair. You're taking the left hand side and you're going along Dardanelles Pass towards Federal Pass. Great running through here, really bit rolly, nothing to report. A couple of steps up and a couple of steps down. Dark through the undercliff and into Ferber proper, 952 stairs at last count. Base of Ferber, there's a timing mat down there. I'm trying to remember what the calculation was. If you're going fast, it's something like 1.5 k's your 5k time, something like that. There has been some work done at Scenic World, so for those of you familiar with the exit here, it was closed off. It will be open obviously for race day. I think it's closed even now. I think it'll be open the day just before we go out for the race. So you'll be turning left. It's really straightforward as you get to the top, and then you are rounding the beer tent, which is a slight change, and then arriving spent at the Scenic World finish line to the dulcet sounds of Ali Pottinger or the commentary team, who will be working around the clock to see you through. So that is the course as I know it. Please, anyone who has any other notes or anything they would like to add, their experiences on the course or parts of the course that I perhaps missed or didn't go into detail, please add it in the Facebook post, add it maybe on the YouTube comments. We're all better for sharing the information, and hopefully this has helped you prepare your race day and have the best possible time there for Ultra Australia 2025. Thank you.